What's the most fucked up thing you did in a sleepover? In the mid-late 90s, my brother got really into the anarchist's cookbook and learned how to tap into neighbors' landlines from a box on the pole using a touch-tone phone and some connectors from Radio Shack. We'd have friends sleep over, we are close in age, and we'd sneak out and head hook a phone up so we could call phone sex lines from outside a neighbor's house in the bushes. I still wonder if they disputed the charges or if the wife just thought the husband was calling 1-900 big tits at 2 a.m. Visiting a friend's house for the first time and I couldn't find the bathroom. I was about 10, during a sleepover. In the middle of the night, dark, confused, I pissed in the closet. Got a bloody nose, it was dark and I didn't know the house, so I stuck near the walls and went down the hallway and found the bathroom. Got the bleeding to stop, cleaned up, went back to sleep. In the morning, the mom came in frantic making sure everyone was alive after she saw smeared, bloody handprints all the way down the hallway. Raided my friend's dad's Playboy mags. Then my friend showed me a porn video and I couldn't figure out why the girl was drinking the guy's pee. Full disclosure, I was like 9 or 10 and this was early 80s. More embarrassing than fucked up. Accidentally clogged the toilet at friend X's house. There was no plunger and the toilet was filling rapidly. I panicked and ran to my friend who promptly called for his dad. His dad takes one look and yells from the bathroom, "Jesus, X. How big of a shit did you take?" It took years before I went back to his house. In Boy Scouts, I was the morning cook, meaning I woke up before anyone else to chop wood, make fire, and get water boiling. I grab the hatchet and start splitting a log into little splinters for kindling. It was cold and dewy. The hatchet slipped from my hand mid-upward swing and went flying to the tent circle. It seriously flew 10 to 15 yards and fell straight down the roof of a tent, where 4 scouts were sound asleep. I'm not sure how long I waited to hear someone start screaming. I probably sat there in terrified anticipation for over a minute. Then I was worried someone might be hurt so I crawled over to that tent where the hatchet landed. I super quietly unzipped the flap, and saw it landed in a bag of clothes very close to some kid's head. I snuck in, grabbed the hatchet, left the tent, zipped it back up, and finished breakfast. I heard them at breakfast complaining that the raccoons has ruined their perfectly nice tent by clawing a hole in it. I bathed my friend. 2 of us stayed at a friend's house in our early teens. We raided their parents' liquor cabinet and proceeded to not understand how alcohol works. We drank every kind of liquor under the sun, very quickly, over the course of a few hours. We chased shots with popsicles and ate animal crackers to get the taste of gin out of our mouths. One of the 3 of us stood atop a small staircase into the living room. Maybe 4 steps, a few feet in distance. He swayed, grabbed onto the railing, turned pale, and then projectile vomited so violently that it all landed and splashed at the bottom of the staircase, leaving the steps clear, minus a few drops. He then immediately fell down the stairs and began to laugh in a pool of his own vomit. We picked him up, dragged him to the bathroom, stripped off all his clothes and shoved him in the shower. He had thick curly hair that was filled with bright red popsicle-colored animal cracker paste. I told him to put out his hands as he kept yelling to not tell everyone he had a small dick. Once he finally complied, I poured shampoo in his hands and told him to clean his hair. He slapped it all into his face, causing him to gag and his eyes to burn. At this point I had to get him cleaned up. So I did. We had no spare clothes for him barring our friend's brother's clothes. He was quite obese. We had to get a belt and tightly tie what I can only describe as parachute shorts around his waist. We went to sleep afterwards and convinced ourselves no one in the house heard us. If this story is believed to be untrue, the reason I remember it so well is because that friend shouting about his dick had a bigger dick than me, and you never forget finding out your dick is small. We had a co-ed church group sleepover at a Vermont farm. I was 13 and recently got a fake testicle. I had my other testicle removed due to an accident. I was getting people to feel my balls and take bets on which one was the real one. Was at a sleepover, my buddy slept on his couch, I slept on his beanbag chair with a blanket. After hours of playing 007 GoldenEye, I get up and go use their restroom, except I didn't. I only dreamed I did and I pissed all over myself at like 4 a.m. I hid the blanket in their jacket closet, it was summertime, and threw the beanbag chair and my pissy underpants in their outdoors dumpster. They lived on a ranch. I was 14 at the time. LOL. Threw up on my cousin's Christmas tree in the middle of the night at her house. I still get shit for that, edit because of typo. I pissed on the air mattress and my friend's mom asked if a raccoon broke in. I peed on my friend's couch during a sleepover. I was 10, kinda old to pee the bed, I know. I woke up in a panic of course, but discovered the couch cushions weren't sewed to the couch and they were identical on both sides. So I flipped that shit, changed into a spare pair of shorts, and went to sleep. A year later while I was at that friend's house, his mom discovered my huge, yellow piss stain on the bottom of a couch cushion. Of course she didn't suspect me. My friend's little sister took the heat. It was me, Mrs. Schofield. I pissed on your couch and let it soak for a year. Edit, holy shit, this got more attention than I anticipated. Edit 2, some have suggested that maybe she discovered the stain intentionally while I was there as a way to either call me out or give me a chance to admit it. Doubtful. I was over at this friend's house a lot. Like at least 3 dozen times in between the day I peed on his couch and the day his mom discovered it. The only reason they found it was because they were rearranging living room furniture and were considering trashing the couch, and I happened to be visiting the same day. I don't remember what we were looking for, but me and another friend went through our buddy's parents' bedroom drawers and found a VHS tape. We were curious and idiotic, so we popped the tape in to see what was on it. Our buddy walked in while we were watching his parents have sex. His scream was the most shocking/horrifying thing I have heard to this day. Walked home while everyone was asleep. Didn't tell my friend, didn't tell their parents, didn't tell my parents, just crawled out a window at my friend's house and crawled in a window at my own. Went to bed. Not a single person looked for me in the morning. I had a sleepover at a friend's house. Pre-teen boys, so we were stuffed in one little bed. I got a nosebleed, but slept through it for about an hour. I noticed eventually and got up to tend to it. My friend woke up while I was in the bathroom to what looked like a scene from a horror movie. I did not get a second sleepover. What was the most fucked up thing to come out in stores that's now discontinued? I guess radium jewelry that glowed in the dark and gave people terminal cancer. Many shoe stores used to have fluoroscope X-ray machines for customers to see how well their foot fit into the shoe they were trying on. They were often unshielded and were highly radioactive. I watched some YouTube series about things in the home that could kill you throughout history, and apparently when electricity started being commonplace in homes, nothing was yet regulated and inventors went absolutely buck-fucking wild with the products they put out. The series specifically mentioned a tablecloth with uninsulated electric mesh wiring running through the entire thing which you could plug in, and no, this was not designed to be a heated blanket. It was sold alongside other electrical accessories you could just plug right into the tablecloth by stabbing the prongs through the fabric and the mesh wiring. This obviously resulted in electrocution and fires. There was a product called the Worm Getter in the 80s. Basically a rod that shocked the ground outside your house that for some reason caused worms to come out of the ground so you didn't have to buy them yourself. Yeah, there was about 30 deaths attributed to this thing from people shocking themselves, and it was recalled. Fake snow made from asbestos. The whole reason that tampons today have warnings about toxic shock syndrome was because of a brand of tampons back in the 70s, that were designed to be put in and left in for your entire cycle, which of course made them breeding grounds for all kinds of nasty bacteria. Needless to say, they don't make those anymore. There was a doll with an eating function that ended up eating young girls' hair. The seller also failed to include how to turn off the doll in the instructions, so you can imagine the horror stories that went down because of that. During the First World War, department stores, including Harrods, sold kits containing syringes, needles and tubes of cocaine and heroin. It was promoted as a present for friends on the front line shoot up to make life in the trenches more bearable and alleviate the horrors of war. The Radia Beauty Cream contains thorium and radium. Diet pills from Sears catalog in the early 1900s. The first pill was a tapeworm egg. The second pill was a drug to kill the tapeworm. You'd take it when you reached your desired weight. I used to work at a toy store 20 years ago. There was a hard plastic Digimon character, Cinnamon, piggy bank, that had a large blade-like horn on his head. The blade was surprisingly pointed/firm, and the large body meant that it would usually point upwards if left on the ground, waiting for some clumsy child to impale themselves on it. We used to jab other co-workers with it until it made number 1 on the list of the most dangerous toys made that year. After seeing that article, we put it on a long stick and jabbed each other from a distance. Safety first. My grandfather had a kit for kids to make their own lead soldiers. It came with the molds for the soldiers, a bunch of ingots of lead, and a cooking pot to melt the lead in. Then the child could pour the molten lead into the mold, wait for it to cool, then play with their new toy. What fun! AIDS. It was a diet candy that became popular shortly before HIV became widely known. Their slogan was "Get Slim with AIDS." One executive refused to change the name of the company, saying something like, "We had the name first, why can't they change the name of the disease?" Edited for errors. A boating raft that flies behind the boat, think 20 in the air. The year I bought a boat they were the newest thing with a big video in the store on a big screen TV. I wanted one, but my wife said hell no. Our kids were about 8 and 11 at the time. The next spring I went in and they were nowhere to be found and I asked the salesperson about them. She said they were recalled due to injuries. What a shock. They still looked fun as hell. Anyone remember those twist braid machines for kids? You'd stick 2 strands of hair, stick one in each prong, and press the button. It'd twist the individual strands, then twist them together, and you'd use those bead clips to hold the braid together. Friends and I lost a lot of hair in those days. Edit, holy shit y'all. I expected my comment to be buried in the mass of comments. I never expected to have one of the top 10 here, nor to get any awards. Thanks y'all. The devil is invading Earth, so God comes to you and allows you to summon one fictional character to defeat the devil. Who do you summon and why? Kirby. He destroys eldritch gods 3 times a week. Fed. Doom Guy. He will save us. Constantine. Johnny with his golden fiddle. Doctor Strange. He can just do the thing with the green rock and undo it. Thulu, because fuck everyone, that's why. South Park Jesus. Kratos from God of War. Doom Guy. Because, real estate prices in hell are gonna drop. Edit, many thanks to all for the upvotes and awards. Wish all of you a happy demon slaying. Tenacious D. Bender. Gandalf the White. In addition to being powerful, he can bring out the good in others, which would be key to avoiding the whole world falling into despair and giving up without fighting. Sure, we might still lose. But afterwards, a far green country awaits. Squirtle. Water against fire should be pretty easy. Saitama.